Hey everybody, Jim Gonzalez here. EDI supports another. Actually, it's cloudy in Pennsylvania today. It is nice and warm though. I can share that. It's perfect.
Okay.
So I have a special guest. I have Casey Jenkins, 828 Consulting. CJ, whichever one. She said she'll take either one. Just don't be calling her anything else. Anyways. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to let CJ tell you who she is, what she does, what kind of offerings she brings to the table, and then we're going to jump into talking about supply chain.
Sounds good.
Go for it, CJ.
All right. Well, I'm based out in Savannah, Georgia. And one thing I will say is it's already warm here and it's a sunny day, kind of partly cloudy, but I'll take it. But the pollen's been bad. So, but yes, so I'm Casey Jenkins, CJ, otherwise known as, and I own 828 Consulting, which is a process improvement consulting business. I primarily focus on supply chain processes, but when it comes down to it, I can analyze, improve, close the gaps on pretty much any business process. So I try to work with smaller companies, and I try to offer multiple levels of engagement. That way, I'm able to still provide, some help to these businesses. So educational, advisory, and project-based services.
Which is great. And that's where, so that everybody knows, we were introduced a year and a half, almost 2 years, something like that. Anyway,
yeah.
It's been a little bit. It's been a little bit since we were introduced to each other. We have similar mindsets in the aspect of just helping people.
Yep.
Being like an a la carte organization. Tell me what you need. If it's related to supply chain, CJ will help you 100%. If it's related to EDI and API and integrations, me and my team will help you 100%. Think of it that way. So in the supply chain, we're talking about a lot of things going on in the supply chain.
Yes.
You have the impact that's going on with the bridge in Baltimore and the ripples of what it's doing across the industry. So what we want to talk about today is what is the transformative impact of technology on the supply chain industry?
Yeah.
And how does that look? What do you think of when you get into that and you're looking at the collaborative supply chain networks?
Yeah.
So I'll let you speak to that, CJ.
Sounds good. Well, it's so funny because I feel like half of my career was kind of before COVID, right? And I feel like the rest of my career has been since COVID, right? So I feel like technology has really kind of become a forefront of a lot of supply chain operations and leveraging it within, their various processes. Especially coming out of COVID. I think we learned a lot of lessons related to collaborative supply chains, related to risk management, related to data flows. And that all kind of feeds in together, right? Because you want to be able to engage with the partners within your supply chain in order to avoid risks, right? Or in order to make sure that your customers are serviced in an effective manner. So when it comes down to it, collaboration is with that customer-centric focus. It's with that risk management focus in mind. And if you don't have systems or data flows that allow for that level of collaboration or visibility, then really you're not going to have a level of customer centricity or risk management to be able to adapt when things or disruptions or problems come about.
So it's like the people that, I always break it down to this. It's when you order from Amazon, and let's all be honest, Amazon sees my house at least 7 times a week.
What? No way.
Listen, when you have 3 daughters and a wife, Amazon, and I'm not trying to be sexist because listen, I order stuff on Amazon too, but I'm going to blame them.
I can speak to it. Yeah.
I get it. They're at my house all the time. Now, what people don't understand is I want to see the information. I want to track that box. I want to know when it's been put on a truck. I want to know when it's out for delivery. I want to get a text message that tells me, hey, the driver's dropping something off, because it's as bad as it is. People steal boxes.
Yeah.
It's a shame. But people don't understand that there's electronic logging devices that are in the trucks.
Yep.
There's GPS. There's all of those things that are going on out in the world to track what's happening.
Yep.
Blockchain, IoT,
Yep.
all of these things are a part of it. And people don't associate it.
Right.
It's like it's out of sight, out of mind. How do we get that information? How is it shared?
Right.
Well, guess what? Technology's doing that.
Right. Yep.
Technology.
And you know, the other thing with that too, though, is it's also funny because obviously being in process improvement, I approach it from the process perspective, right? You know, like when you stop and think about how technology is included in a process, it's a tool to make the process faster or to make the flow of information faster, right? And, you know, it's so interesting, though, that when you look at the level of collaboration, if you don't have one of your partners actually being able to convey information back in, it's not just an internal flow of information, it's also external. It's also their information coming back to be able to effectively create that level of collaboration or customer centricity. And so if they're not giving information, they're not giving the quality data, they're not keeping you up to date, and it's not flowing in, you've got a breakdown in that process that then exposes you to a bad level of customer service, potentially, right? Or, you know, potential risks. And, you know, one example I was thinking of yesterday, you know, a lot of companies are obviously right now looking at new technologies to be able to implement to improve their operations. And again, since I approach it from a very process perspective, it's like, okay, sure, we might be able to implement a new system that increases speed in this area of our supply chain, like transportation, for example. But what is that doing to create any bottlenecks elsewhere or creating issues within other functional areas of your supply chain? And one thing I thought of was, you know, I shop from Ulta, right? So I'm sure you know that one too.
Yes, I do.
Yes, and I ordered, you know, some products to be shipped to me, you know, from online, right? Now, I would bet in their facilities, they've probably got, you know, top-notch technology, maybe some robots or automation, picking, packing, sorting, whatever the case is. But then it said your order has shipped. And I'm like, oh, this is great. It's already shipped. That's amazing. I just placed this like yesterday, right? But then it sat for 3 days before it actually shipped. And so in my head, I'm sitting there going, well, that's great. Within your facility, you've got, you know, all top-notch technology and flow of, you know, products, flow of information, but where it's causing a queue and it's causing a back order in your carriers being able to pick up those shipments and get those shipments out of there. So when you start to look at how, you know, efficiency or being able to create that level of visibility and collaboration among internal but also external, you have to approach it from that end-to-end perspective, or else an improvement you're making may not actually be an improvement except in one functional area or within one process, but can create issues in others.
Yep. No, I definitely agree with you in the fact that people need to build those processes. People need to use technology amongst that process. People need, but I always say, listen, as weird as it is, flow chart it.
Yes. Yes.
Put it on a document, write it on a notepad, put it on a napkin. I don't care what you do, but lay it out that you can visually see.
Yes.
Because now, a lot of times people learn from visualization and it's easier to explain to people.
Yes.
So you can have the technology, you can do all those things, but let's get back to simplicity.
Right. Right. Well,
don't overcomplicate it. You're tracking a package or you're tracking a truck or you're seeing.
Right.
If a bridge falls, which we hope it doesn't, we don't want that happening. If a bridge falls and something occurs, what are you going to do? And how can technology help, or AI even, to reroute?
Yep. Well, and that's, I mean, it's all, you know, again, with having that documentation or having your processes, you know, in some sort of documented or flowchart type manner, right? That's a risk management strategy because you're able to spot immediately of, oh, if a risk occurs at this point in the process, we can do this, or we can leverage technology to do this, right? So for example, you know, like you mentioned AI with rerouting, you know, when the now disruption, I would classify it up in Baltimore. If a system had AI to automatically reroute, or even if a system doesn't, or if people don't have that capability, if you've got your processes documented, you could look at that and go, wait a second, we have all of these shipments, or we've got this in our process flowing through Baltimore. We need to stop that at this point and now reroute it. You can even do it manually, right? But it's a lot easier, with technology to be able to spot those places where technology can be leveraged, AI or any of these newer things coming out, to be able to actually have that work for you. But if you don't have an idea of what's going on within your organization, you're not going to know where to leverage, new technology to be able to improve or support that.
And it's all leading to the cloud.
Exactly.
And it's all being technology that you can carry with you.
Yes.
Technology that you can visually see on your phone, on your iPad, on whatever it may be, and you have real-time data, real-time information. Yep. It's not, hey, I got to call CJ and let her know what's going on.
Right.
I have to send a fax over here. Like AI, AI is going to be is great, and it comes into place here in a successful manner.
Right.
There's a lot of other things that not conspiracy theorists. We're not going down that pathway. AI in supply chain can be a great asset.
Yeah.
It could reroute. It can look at backlogs of trucking, of an accident, any of those things, weather delays,
right?
All of those things, and take it and put it into real life scenarios and say, hey, go this way. It's going to save you X amount in gas.
Right.
You triple that gas over time, you're talking millions of dollars depending on your company.
Right.
So as we're going into that, and we're talking about, really the resilience of the supply chain, the corrective manners of the supply chain, we're talking about flexibility, scalability. When you're looking at an organization and you're doing 5 orders, 5 shipments, doesn't sound hard.
Right.
Your product blows up because an influencer shows it.
Right.
A TikTok person puts it out there, whatever. Now you went from 5 to 5,000.
Right.
What are you going to do? If you put the pieces in place with technology, you can help yourself.
Right.
You can be a solo individual that's moving 5,000 orders, 50,000 orders. The process is in place. It's there.
Yeah.
It's scalable. It leads you to all of these things. And it's not like it used to be where, if you were on-prem, and some people are still on-prem with physical servers and all those things can fail.
Yep.
What's the redundancy? What's the backup? What's all of those things? In the cloud, now it's literally a switch.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you're not down. You have to reroute to maybe a different website, or maybe whatever it may be. But it's no longer the computer's dead. It won't turn on. So building in that resiliency, understanding what is vital to your organization, understanding what is the process and what can you do there. Technology can lead you all along that way.
Right.
It can help you. And when you look at those future trends, which I'm sure you look at and you help people look at.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, do you also analyze and look at the return on investment?
Yeah.
So from a technology standpoint, do you help people speak to that? Like, what do you do using technology to also make that a monetary aspect for your clients?
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest thing is, one of the things when I approach companies and I look at their processes and try to see within their technology, The biggest thing is some of the companies I work with are so small that I look at, are they actually leveraging the technology they currently have in an effective manner to then be able to build upon it later or change or, add features to it later, right?
Yep.
That's one way, because obviously anyone doing a digital transformation knows it's what? Time, resources, money. And you want to make sure that that solution that's being implemented and put in place, one, sticks through change management, but also two, actually does get a monetary return on that investment of time, resources, and money, right?
Yep.
So when I approach these companies, I try to first look at, the current systems or technologies that you're using. How can you actually leverage those better to then build upon them later as your business scales? Because some of these people can't go from doing Excel spreadsheets to full on robots executing everything in their operations overnight. Okay.
No.
So sometimes it does take incremental steps, right? But to be able to convey to a company that, look, if you take this one incremental step, you're going to make X. Then if you take the next incremental step, you'll then get Y, right? And you can continue to show that how making these small improvements, utilizing technology will actually benefit them in a monetary way. Then it kind of grasps, oh, well, maybe we don't need to full overhaul our systems. Maybe we just need to figure out a new feature that we can add on, or maybe we can have someone come in and build just, leverage AI over top of what we already have. And there's a lot of companies out there that actually offer some of more of those ad hoc type solutions, kind of like what you and I do, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to actually take what companies currently have and what they invested in and be able to just evolve it slightly to take them one step further and then evolve that again one step further. And I think what companies need to kind of look at is, is it better to go ahead and overhaul now? Or is it better to spend a little bit and then, get incremental steps? And I think that just depends on the company. It depends on the situation they're in. It depends on the problems they're having of which is going to be best. But looking at it from both that perspective, kind of doing like a good, better, best, right? Looking at a few options to weigh out when making these improvements will be better to then decide what route should I go.
And I agree with you 100%. It's that evaluation.
Yeah.
Give me your pain points.
Yeah.
Give me what are all your pain points, and now let's rank them.
Yes.
1 to 10, whatever it may be. Let's rank them. Sometimes some pain points are all number one.
Right.
It's detrimental. Your company's going to die. People are not happy. Customers aren't happy. So we got to do something.
Right.
Or we're no longer going to exist.
Right.
I've run into that scenario with small companies, even large enterprise organizations that are looking to literally lose their main account. And I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
So it's doing those things. And again, it's that I'm all about sayings. It's weird. People can kill me for this. It's all about how do you eat a whale?
Yes.
Love that saying. One bite at a time.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. Your problems may be enormous, but if you're not taking steps forward to correct them, and technology we're in 2024, people. Right. Like, there's a lot of things that technology can do. I mean, they're watching both of our YouTube channels. If you're watching I'm that little guy in Pennsylvania, has a YouTube channel, but yet I'm talking to these enormous organizations.
Right. Yep.
They would have never found me 20 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
and it's like, the creative ways too. Like there's a lot of, I think companies also need to realize that like, there's not a one size fit all for some of these technologies and systems anymore. Out of the box solutions are, I would say, kind of a thing of the past in my opinion. You might have a little bit of out of the box that still works, then you customize later. That's mass customization in my mind. But the point is that there's going to probably have to be some customization, right? And so there's now a way to be creative with that, where 20 years ago, there wasn't. You had to take an out of the box solution and make it work for your organization. Just like just like with this, right? We do these podcasts. It's probably airing worldwide, right? 20 years ago, we didn't have that capability,
Nope.
And so now that we've got creative ways through technology to be able to do some of this stuff, it's like we can think in different ways. We don't have to think in a one way from 1980. We can now think in 2024.
Yeah, no, and it's exactly that. Like you hit the nail on the head. Just because somebody uses blockchain, AI,
Right.
EDI, APIs, all a certain way, that doesn't mean you have to use it that way. Everybody should conform their business based on them. And work with what I feel is consulting organizations like ours that can do more of that a la carte approach. And it's that saying, if it's fair for you and it's fair for me, why not work together?
Right.
If we can't come to an agreement, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like there's no harm, no foul. Like it's okay. But I highly suggest anybody that's getting into supply chain or running into disruptions or doesn't have their tech stack lined up correctly, reach out to CJ. Now you know who she is.
Yes.
Reach out to her. She's here. She can help you. She does educations. She travels and actually talks at colleges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny too, though, because that's like going the route of being a la carte with what I do. The reason for that, and I'm sure you know this too, with that's how you approach things, is because we recognize that businesses aren't all the same. So for example, like looking at technology to be able to focus on customer centricity or risk management or, better processes. Every organization is going to have a different perspective on that. Now, I don't want to say that you don't want to benchmark and, be at industry standards or competitive standards, but that's the beauty of it, right? Every company has their own core competencies and knowledges that makes them stand out as different. And you can leverage that when you have people like us who come in and can help you in very unique and tailored ways and implement solutions that are very different, or maybe not what the industry has seen before, or maybe not what your competitor has. But we're able to assess based off of what your needs are, based off of all of our experience from seeing so many different companies, that we can come in with a perspective that's a little more abstract. And I think that's something that a lot of business owners and leaders need to kind of wrap their heads around, is that, with some of these solutions that are out there and ways to approach these topics, you can come at it a little more abstract, a little differently, a little more creatively, a little more, I don't want to say bold, but a little more bold than we used to.
It's all about them. It's not about us.
Right.
You have all the education and I have all the experience, but guess what?
Yep.
I'm giving you options.
Right. Exactly.
I'm not saying, I had a call with a gentleman today out of Ireland. This is technology at its best. With a gentleman out of Ireland asking me about EDI, doing all of those things. And I go, hey, what do you want?
Right.
What do you want? It doesn't matter what I want, but I'm trying to get into your head to understand what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what your options are, and go from there. I'm going to share a comment that we just got. So John Ford, scalable collaboration is key. It's important to tailor your technology according to you, your employees, your customers, and industry needs. 100%, John. 100%. We had other people that wanted to say hello. Hey, we'll throw you on here. Akash. Hello to you, sir. And we'll throw Derek on here. Oh, hey, look live. Good Wednesday, everyone. Good Wednesday to you too, Derek. So anyways, I had to share this. But yes, it comes down to what John had said, what you've been saying, what I've been saying. Technology can lead us and can actually do a lot of good for organizations, but you have to put plans in place.
Yes.
You have to work with individuals that understand the technology, understand what your goals are, and can get you along that pathway, but also can keep you safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want to be into an issue where you can't move product.
Right.
You don't want to be into an issue where you lose an individual and your whole company shuts down.
Right.
Like, I don't want to see people sitting in that place.
Right.
But CJ, this has been great. I always have fun when I talk with you. It's always good to have other organizations that are out there that are mindful to the customer, understanding what you bring to the table, and you're bringing options. You're not bringing a dictatorship. You're saying, here, what do you want? Like,
right.
There's so many old school consulting firms that are out there that are like, you're going to do this. Listen, I don't answer to anybody other than my wife. So you're not going to tell me how to do things.
Right.
That's the aspect that I carry with me, and I look to when we're dealing with these companies and we're dealing with their issues, and you're helping them with their supply chain, because you're there. And sometimes you have to provide them that little smack to say, hey, sorry, you may have been doing this way for 20 years. Yeah. It's not working.
But, even with that, it's like, that's where the educational side comes into play of, realizing that, hey, you know what, maybe it's just we need to give you a little tools and knowledge to be able to understand why it's not working anymore. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think we all understand, even you and I as business owners, small business owners, we all understand that what we created at the start has to evolve if we want to keep growing. Right. And so when it comes down to it, I might tell you what you want to hear, or not tell you what you want to hear, but I tell you what you need to hear, because I respect people in their businesses enough to not want to just, I guess, coax them along. Right. I want to help them improve.
Yeah. And you don't want to pander to them.
Correct. And technology is a way, and understanding how that fits in your processes, and understanding what that can do from a risk management perspective, customer centric perspective, and even just, a process improvement perspective, is just a way to help these business owners have the tools and knowledges that they need to be able to keep growing and scaling their business.
Yep. And that's why I don't push one EDI solution.
Right.
There's not a one fits all.
Yep.
I'll tell you which ones I like, and which companies I believe in, and which companies are customer focused. And it's the same for you.
Yep.
When you lead in, you don't go, hey, you have to use Google. Hey, you have to use Microsoft. Hey, listen, here's the tools that I've seen. Here's the ones that are expensive. If you want to go that route, you can, but you can also use these other things that'll do the exact same thing, and they're half the price.
Right. Yep.
So CJ, it's fun. I enjoyed this conversation. I enjoy bringing this knowledge to everybody that's out there that's watching or going to watch this. In the comments, in the details, people, you'll see all of our links, how to get a hold of CJ, how to get a hold of myself. We're here to help you. So please comment, please like, please distribute the information, and reach out to CJ. She's here to help you. If there's people that I believe in and I feel the genuineness, you're one of those individuals.
Thank you.
So take it, run with it. And we're just going to be here helping small to large, and seeing what we can do. But CJ, again, share your information, tell them how to get to your website. If you want to share your email, any of those things, and then we'll end our day.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on this. Hopefully everyone found some value. But if you do want to reach out to me, you can probably connect with me on LinkedIn. It's probably the easiest way. But you can also go to my website. It's 828consultingllc.com. That's 828consultingllc.com. You can reach out via that or via LinkedIn. So please be sure to connect.
All right. Thank you, CJ. As always, it's fun. I'm going to have you on in another session. We'll figure something out. So
sounds good.
Take care, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you next Wednesday. At least I will. Anyway, take care.